Hello everyone, and welcome to my second video of this week, as I have my, I just realized this thumbnail is not even at all help to clarify, and the frame is less optimal than I thought it was. No, we're always in annoying places. Figuring out this YouTube stuff is a lot of work. Sorry. My second video this week, certainly my second one on this channel. I will not be posting more videos on this channel, but I have started a second channel, which, starting in, I think, technically a couple hours, will be releasing 3 days a week of me playing through a big multi-game randomizer, including Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Emerald, Pokemon Platinum, and Pokemon White 1, along with 20 other games, including other, Lego Batman, Lego Star Wars, Balatro, Civilization 5 and Civilization 6, Wordle, a jigsaw puzzle, just a very large series of crazy, bizarre, different games that I have sort of wound together, including a larger number of platformers than I realized. So a link will be in the description to that channel, and I'll probably co-release the first video with this channel, though I won't do that for all of them because I think that's a great idea. I don't even know if doing the first video with this channel. Maybe I'll just co-release it with my personal one. I don't know. Certainly I'll leave a link to it in the description. So what we are here to talk about today, though, is not my new channel, which will be very fun and everyone should go watch. It is instead Fellowship and Fatherhood, where I talk about my VBL draft season, inspired by Lord of the Rings. And when I say inspired by Lord of the Rings, I actually mean that I gave my dad lists of Pokemon, by which I mean just the entire tiers of 3 different sets of costs, and told him to tell me which Pokemon he likes from those lists. Of course, before I remembered that my original plan was to ask my dad about this, I drafted Cloyster, the one fish to rule them all. And as you can see, he's very evil, because I drafted him and not my dad. Now, there will also be another evil character later on, because there's only 9 members of the Fellowship, and you draft 11 Pokemon in this league. But this is a low-tier league in National Dex, where Cloyster is one of the top tiers, and Cloyster is a very, very fun Pokemon to use from a historical perspective. I have had a lot of fun times, enjoyable times, using Cloyster, running stuff like Scarf, Icicle Spear, running stuff like, I think it's not Acid Armor, it's one of the other boosting things. I don't know, it has, maybe it is Acid Armor, it's not Iron Defense, is the thing I actually meant to say. Maybe it's Barrier, I forget. It has something that to boost its defense by 2 stages, and you can compare that with Life Dew. You can scale up its physical defense, and you support the team through that manner. And most of the reason that you can run all these different sets is because the only move you really need is Icicle Spear, unless you need other moves, in which case you run them. Very fun Pokemon to use, a Pokemon that I just have a lot of really good experiences with in both singles and VGC, and I'm very happy to have picking for the top tier. Then, I believe it was on a Wednesday night, I got the opportunity to pull my dad aside. As you can see, this is my dad here, Orlando Bloom, and got him to look through the different top tiers of the Pokemon, and yes, this is after we did the volunteering that I do, which my dad is also involved in. Yeah, we caught up. I caught up as I sort of walked him home, and showed him the top tiers of Pokemon, and had him sort of pick different ones that he was interested in there. The one that he showed the most interest in was absolutely Swoobat. So there we have Swoobat, the first Pokemon I drafted, Gandalf. Here, seeking aid in Rohan. Prodigal is a word that means spending a lot, because I wound up spending a very large proportion of my budget here, getting these 3 top tiers, following the Cloyster, which was already a top tier. Following the next round, I picked up Throh, as you can see there. Gimli, the short, stocky fellow, certainly fits Throh. Sorry, I just realized I forgot to talk about Swoobat. Swoobat is one of the faster Pokemon legal in this format. Obviously, Ninjask is also legal, so as well as the Electrodes. So it's not like the fastest Pokemon at all. Sorry, skipped too far. I accidentally hit the button. The So it is a fast Tailwind setter. It does also have access to Trick Room. I think it may have Imprisoned, I actually forget. It also can click Calm Mind, which gives it a boost with the ability Simple to... Sorry, it has the ability Simple, which means that whenever it gets a boost, it gets double the stats. But also whenever it gets a stat drop, it loses double the stats. So that can work very effectively with like Stored Power being a stab psychic type move potentially. And you can do something like Mirror Herb, and then your Mirror Herb copies double your opponent's Shell Smash boosts. You can click Coaching with the side throw, and then you can get like the double attack and double defense there, and maybe you can try and run like a physical set, even though it doesn't really have any good physical moves. You know, it's definitely in this low tier for a reason, but Simple is a very fun ability to play around with. You know, you can scale up your fairly meager defenses pretty quickly with good support. I don't have Prankster coaching. If I had like a real illness team, I think that would make it even crazier. But yeah, so Swoobat, pretty cool. Then, like I said, it went for Throw. Throw is a complex Pokemon, where it is one of the bulkier Pokemon that we have legal that actually has like an attack stat. It's quite slow. It has Storm Throw, which is like Dragon Tail but fighting type, so that's pretty helpful. Oh no, that's Circle Throw. Sorry, Storm Throw is the other move I'll talk about. Circle Throw. Yeah, so you can force Pokemon to switch, which is pretty helpful as like an anti-Trick Room option if their Trick Room setter is not a Ghost type. You can't get taunted around it, which Roar and Whirlwind are good Trick Room techs, but can get taunted around. Then Throw has its next best fighting type move, attack, which is Storm Throw, which is 60 base power and has a guaranteed critical hit. You may recognize that as being significantly weaker than Surging Strike and what's the other one? Wicked Blow. The signature achievement moves. Unfortunately, this Pokemon does not have access to close combat. I am not sure whether it has access to the Body Press. Obviously, Body Press is a decent move. But yeah, so slow Pokemon can be a Trick Room abuser. Again, my Trick Room setter is currently Swoobat. Can be a Trick Room check the Trick Room to try and prevent people from setting Trick Room up, or by being annoying to them in Trick Room. It's not that slow that it can really do the second part as much, but yeah. Then we got another Pokemon that's also kind of slow, but not that slow, and also has the ability to phase out Trick Room setters. Aggron. Yeah, that's Agrigorn. I apologize. Agrigorn, of course, portrayed there by Big or Mort Aaron, or Mort Laron. I don't know which of the lines I should have gone with. I should have prepped this joke in advance. It is obviously got the Lyrian Blade. No, I knew what the sword was called. I just can't remember it. I'm immediately losing. The second I start recording my video, I'm losing like the entirety of my knowledge of Lord of the Rings is phasing from my body. Like I don't think I can even remember the name of the actors of Merry and Pippin right now. It's that rough. It's pretty tough. But yes, so Agrigorn, there is a very physically defensive Pokemon, Rock Steel type, which with access to Terastallization, which is legal in this format, is less of a liability. There's a lot of rock types in this format. There's not that many fighting types, and fighting types are one of the scary things for Agrigorn. I also got one of the good fighting types, certainly not the best by any means, but one of the ones that Agrigorn would have been worried about. There's so many Pokemon that you can click Heavy Slam into, and it will be 120 base power, which can make up for the fact that Agrigorn's attack stat is not that good. It does also have access to Body Press, and surely no one would be checking my fighting type moves already when I have the Throw. So surely Body Press then is perfectly fine and free, and there will never be any consequences for me clicking it. They will never run Terra Fairy or Flying or Ghost or Bug. Well, I guess Bug could be okay. It also has access to Rockhead, Head Smash, I think, but it's got like, it doesn't have like Wild Charge, for example, which like it feels like every Pokemon gets, but then like very few of the Rockhead Pokemon get it. It's like if a Pokemon doesn't have Rockhead, very high chance it gets it. So it must be like, it feels like 70% of Pokemon without Rockhead get Wild Charge, but then 30% of Pokemon with Rockhead get Wild Charge. Not necessarily the side of the split that I'd be too happy to be on, but I just got to be able to try and position Aggron. Both Aggron and Thrower, I think, are fast enough with their base speed that they can take advantage of a potential Tailwind coming off of Gandalf there. I just realized it's gonna be Gandalf the Gay, isn't it? Because of the whole big like heart stab thing. That's the easiest pun to make. Oh no. I'll see if I can think of a different one. Because Swoobat will probably be a reasonably significant part of the team. But yes, unfortunately, seeing Raiden Rohan, they did not wind up with more money. So then I next had the opportunity to speak to my father. Gosh, when was this? Okay, I'm no longer going to narrativize the times that I spoke with my dad because I don't remember them. But yes, my dad really loved Clodsire. In fact, he called me a Clod because he sired me, which, you know, not necessarily appreciated, but obviously was in the spirit of the thing. So Clodsire, my first big pickup of this sort of round of getting the middle tier Pokemon. Actually, I just realized there's only 3 of these Pokemon. One of these Pokemon is from a later round, which is the Growlithe. But I don't think I really could have gotten the images the same way. But yes, after getting the Clodsire, I went for Mischievous, which you can see there is Saruman gazing through the Palantir. Because like slightly after this, they have all the crows that sees them who are working for Saruman. And this certainly is not the training you get in Minas Anor. Being the old-timey name for Minas Tirith, which is where Boromir wanted the group to go. I was trying to remember. He said, you gotta make for the pass at something, something, something. I don't remember what he says. And I really wanted to, because I was trying to figure out what joke to make based on it. But I just could not remember what the joke he says was. And I am just seeing on my other screen some crazy-ish that I think is related to a manga that I like and I've not seen the anime for. Being Kingdom. Shout out Origami Beats again, providing me free background music at a slightly lowered volume for what feels like a million years. Very much appreciated. Yes, and then following that, yes, Mischievous, which is really helpful. Mischievous is currently my first EVL Lite user Pokemon. Now I will have a few other people, the Pokemon who might want EVL Lite in a list, don't you worry. But Mischievous gives me access to like a fast Wisp. Fast, you know, relative. 85 base speed is not that fast, but it's also not that slow. It gives me access to Wisp. It gives me access to a slower Trick Room. And frankly, a pretty reliable Trick Room setter. It's a lot bulkier than the Swoopat, which is pretty good. And there's a lot of Pokemon of mine who at this sort of speed where like they can benefit from Trick Room, so having a more reliable Trick Room setup is definitely a nice option. But yeah, it has a lot of utility options, and it also has a decent 85 special attack stat, which, you know, Shadow Ball is just fine in a whole lot of teams. Not as good as it's been in some other seasons, because there's a lot of like random normals and darks down here, as you may be able to see from... Is this my second normal type? Is it not my second normal type? Actually, I don't think it is my second normal type. I'm very weak to fighting at this point. Around like when I'm getting the Gumshoes, because I've got the Cloyster, who's weak to fighting. I've got the Aggron, who's weak to fighting. Now I'm getting the Gumshoes, who's weak to fighting. But it's less of a problem when I've got like the Swoobat and the Mischievous and then the Clodsire. Gumshoes. I built for a week with this Pokemon, and its move pool is way worse than I remembered. But, you know, it's got some fun abilities, Stakeout and Adaptability. Adaptability, Double Edge is, you know, classically my favorite thing to do, possibly in the history of ever. So you can still get some decent damage out of it. Just don't expect it to stay around too long, and it doesn't have like quick attack or anything. Very low in terms of the utility it's able to provide, which is unfortunate. But you know, it's just a bit of a beat stick, and I can probably get into positions where a beat stick is useful. Now, after we went to Minas Anor and got a lot of these mid-tier Pokemon, I was then down to, I think it was like 12 points for 4 Pokemon. I will forewarn that we didn't wind up actually spending all of them, because my dad was more interested in like the 3 and 2 point Pokemon than the 4 point Pokemon, which I started looking at for 3 and 2. I did specifically ask him to prioritize fire and dark types because I had none and I didn't want to die. And so one of the fire types that spots is Growlithe over there, being getting involved in the training, of course. I just remembered that that's the Magic the Gathering art for the Palantir, because I couldn't find like a good shot of it to like include, so I had to cut the art out of the Magic the Gathering art and then crop out obviously the backgrounds, which I like as well. And then yes, you've got Growlithe. Growlithe fast X to Intimidate. That's pretty helpful. It's a Fairy Resist, which I sorely needed. It's an Ice Resist, which I didn't necessarily sorely need, but is always appreciated. What else does it resist to that it was helpful? Was it weak to Grass? Yeah, I am weak to Grass, right? Because if you look, weak to Grass, only one resist, and then no resists here until I got Growlithe, because Clodsire is neutral to Grass, which is, you know, normally a poison is a Grass resist, and then yeah, I have one Grass resist so far on the team. Growlithe gives me a second Grass resist, and that's pretty helpful because Grookey's in the format, and then if you get Grookey and any other Grassy Glide Pokemon, my team would probably have just died without access to Intimidate and a resist. So here it is. But yes, infamously, Growlithe was a Pokemon that a few seasons ago on another person's team missed an obscene number of Heat Waves. I think there was one game where they clicked Heat Wave 4 times, hit it once, and if they hit it twice, they'd won, and then they lost. It was truly a tragedy in the making, and I promise not to learn from that and to click Heat Wave. So make sure you click Wide Guard if you see Growlithe on the field against me. Make sure you're spending that turn clicking Wide Guard, because you know the Heat Wave's coming out, and that's really the only way you can deal with Growlithe is to Wide Guard the Heat Wave. Now, here on the last slide, the other of the very cheap Pokemon that we wound up picking, 3-pointer and 2 2-pointers. One of which is way worse than I realized. But you will see in tomorrow's Pokemon Blue video. And when I say tomorrow, I'm pretty sure that video will be coming out 2 hours after this one. Because that's just how I set it up. I didn't necessarily realize how long the BFR thing would be going. And realistically, I should have recorded this video earlier and released it maybe instead of that last BFR video. I don't know, I will record another BFR video for the final week on season. I won't record the playoffs for various reasons, including the fact that I've got holidays coming up, and that's just not that convenient. You know. What was I saying? Yeah, so we'll see how the BFR stuff works out. Certainly VBL videos will be coming out, you know, weekly from now. I will probably release the last BFR video, but it is meaning that we'll be having like 5 videos coming out a week again, which, you know, obviously not all in the same style. You'll be seeing very long videos because it turns out playing 5 video games at the same time is long on the randomizer, but they are a lot of fun, and you can sort of skip around if you're finding that some of the bits are especially dead, especially in the first week when I did not have a controller for playing platformers. It was really hard. Now I have a controller, and that helps. But yes, back to this team. Yes, very low points. Execute. This Pokemon I thought had a much better specials than it does. It's got a special of 60, which is a special attack of 60. And I just thought it was higher. Like I thought it was like, you know, like our Abra I think is like 95 or 105 or something ridiculous, right? I thought this Pokemon also had at least like 80 special. But I love Execute. It gives me another ground resist, which is much appreciated, especially as I'm getting a second poison. It's bug poison, so it's not weak to ground, but means I'm not getting a resist there. Quite famously, Legolas, Frodo never says Legolas's name in the entire movie. In the books, Legolas barely speaks. Like, there's way more dialogue in the books than in the movies, which makes sense, the books are a lot longer. And Legolas barely speaks. Like, Legolas speaks a little bit to Aragorn, you know, he speaks a little bit when they're in Rivendell. Speaks like a tiny bit to Gandalf. Speaks very small amounts to Gimli, but like does not speak to any of the halflings. I think he may not even have one line with Boromir. Like he is. He's look. They certainly made him appear a lot more personable and sociable in the movies. I can tell you that with some confidence. Yeah, funny guy Legolas. And yeah, like I was reading a bit of Fellowship, and he's like, you know, everyone's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then Aragorn asks him a question, and then he says, oh, I know exactly what this is. And I'm like, great. Couldn't have said that slightly earlier without being prompted. But yes, Spinarak is here. It has access to Rage Powder, which can redirect my opponent's things. That can allow me to set up like a Shell Smash from a Cloister, which is pretty nice. But That's really all I can say in terms of that specific thing. Spinarak is not traditionally an amazing Pokemon, but these Pokemon are all very cheap, so that makes sense. Masstiff is... I've actually never drafted on Bostiff, the Pokemon it evolves into, for no specific reason. It's Pokemon that I think is fine, I just haven't picked it up. I think it's gone a couple times when I've tried to plan into teams. Yeah, access to Intimidate, not great stats, not great other abilities. I think it may have access to Comeuppance, which is a, like, Metal Dust, but Dark type. It also may not. That may be an evolution move that my Bostiff gets. But yeah, this is the team. Legolas, famously here. He was here the whole time. You guys just didn't realize because he was there with Shelob. I honestly can't even tell where they are in the movie, but in this shot. But I wanted a picture of Furl and Sam that I could sneak Lego Legolas into the back of. And Lego is there also as a plug to the fact that I'm playing 2 Lego games in the big randomizer. It's really easy to completely forget every single game that you're playing in the randomizers, by the way. Thank you guys all for watching. It should be a fun season using Pokemon that my dad helped me draft, which, you know, I would suggest is a notable limitation, and it should be a good bit of fun. Cheers.